Yep, got a live thing up in the top corner.
Why isn't it? Why? Hello, everybody, and sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm not very good at this. For everyone in chat, I'm glad you could come and join us for this informal yatter. If you have any pressing questions for anyone, please post them up. We'll try our best to answer. And don't be an arse in the chat, please, or the moderators will show you the door. So who'd like to kick off?
Silence.
I know.
Yeah,
I
all right. Sorry, go.
Carry on.
Oh, I was just going to say somebody should say something, but I'm just trying to get the chat popped out here.
All right. I did say something. Did it not come out? Oh my goodness! Right, hold on. Can you go here?
So can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Hear you fine.
It's fine.
But the YouTube channel is still saying waiting for Miss RD.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think they heard her opening statement.
Well, I think it's working. It's working for me on my end.
It's working for me. I can see it. Yeah.
You might need to
refresh. Okay.
Yeah.
Where's Thought gone?
I don't know. He's disappeared.
Yeah, I don't see him. I know he was switching from his laptop or his computer to, I think he was trying to connect with a phone instead. Might be having issues getting in. Sometimes Google Hangout links are kind of funny on your phone.
Yeah, true.
So what's everyone been up to?
Not very much, unfortunately. Astronomy Live, were you talking about rains and storms there before we went on live? Have you got it bad?
Yeah, we're getting hit by a little squall line from Hurricane Michael right now, just outside, and I got home just before this, and it was okay. There was no rain or anything, and now suddenly we're getting hit with a deluge and a fair bit of lightning out there too. So if I suddenly go offline, it's because the power's knocked out my router.
Yeah. But, as long as you don't go up in a puff of smoke.
That's right. That's right. We've had it pretty easy over here near Tampa, fortunately, on this hurricane. But I know a lot of guys up in the Panhandle are having a real rough day today. So hopefully everyone's staying safe up there.
Good. Shane, what's your weather like?
Well, we've got clear blue skies all around today, looking at about a top of about 20 C. So
nice.
Nice. Hopefully get out and about later on today and film some wildlife. I don't know why, but at least I'll feel good about putting it up there to show Rogers off.
Oh, I know.
No one will see it, but anyway, I'll feel good about it.
Well, I went out to tidy up the garden this afternoon, and it was a gorgeous day. There was ladybirds, there was bees, there was butterflies, there was every kind of insect conceivable out there. So he's talking utter nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Where are these people getting that from?
No idea.
I guess that means Claudia Alber's statement that the sun is no longer shining doesn't really apply.
It's the sun simulator, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Everyone has their own personal sun simulator. Exactly where the sun should be. Funny how that works.
And how big the bloody thing would have to be.
It would have to be not only big, but it would have to be very distant, and there would have to be multiple of them that somehow cloak themselves in this. They are the one that's intended for you. It's beyond mind-boggling.
Well, the only way I could work it out was to have it out at L1 or somewhere, and then it'd still have to be huge, and you'd have to keep it tracking somehow. It'd be phenomenal if you could do it.
But you can.
I don't know if you guys are hearing the thunder in the background for me. We
Yeah,
just
I can hear that.
Outside.
We've lost thought.
I'm here.
Where you are there?
There he is.
Yeah, the phone's doing its thing again.
Ah, okay.
Bloody things. Modern technology.
No. Stop looking down at modern technology. Look up to the sky.
That's what I'm doing wrong.
That's what you're doing wrong.
Oh dear.
Is anybody out there in the chat room hearing us?
I think
Yes.
they are.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, it'd help if I went
Crystal
page.
said they could do this.
I've got one showing here. Mr. Nibiru tells me the link is buggered.
Ah, yeah, it's just done it to me as well. Try again. Oh, hang on.
You're looking at the wrong chat, the pair of you. You're looking at the one that says live chat. You should be looking at the one that says try again.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hold on a second. I'll post that link again.
Right, I'm seeing it now. So, see, we're all experts and professionals here.
Yeah, right.
All right, I'm good now.
I still haven't got it. Oh, well. It's just taken a long time to get the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
What is that banging noise?
It's thunder over at Ellsworth, I think.
Oh, sorry, was that me?
No, I don't think it is. It's like somebody banging.
Huh. No, I don't hear anything banging. I mean, there's occasional thunder, but it's okay. It's not banging away right now. Sure.
Right.
This isn't going to plan.
Must be Nibiru.
The government.
It's all that aluminium
They want
dust
to
it's
shut
got
us
inside. We know what we're doing.
No, we don't. Right, I think that's it.
We're very out of practice.
Exceedingly.
Ah, here's one for you. Matt Rogers uploaded. Are we all in for a rude awakening? 48 minutes ago.
Well, hopefully he is.
Oh, true.
So for those watching who are wondering what this weird green box is over my eye, I guess I'll go ahead and mention it now. I'm developing some tracking software for telescopes, and this is sort of at the tech demo stage of it, where I've implemented my tracking algorithm that I've written for real-time tracking of objects and arbitrary objects that the user designates using the blue box, which is my mouse cursor. So I can just click on anything and it will track it as I move around. So I'm going to integrate this with telescope control commands so that a go-to telescope can follow any object that you happen to see with a video viewfinder. Basically just a webcam like this that you've strapped to the telescope.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be able to click. Oh, I think we get some feedback here. Object. Mute that for a second. So basically, this will allow you to track arbitrary, fast-moving objects, anything from rockets, satellites, UFOs, whatever you happen to see that you want to take a close look at in the telescope. You'll be able to just click on it, and the telescope will go to it and center it up for you and then you can take a look through the eyepiece or record it with a video camera through the telescope. And obviously, this is a lot. If you've experienced my previous version of this software, this is a lot better in terms of the tracking mechanism. Before, it was just based on the color or brightness of the object, and the idea was you're usually going to have a bright object against a dark background if you're tracking during the night, or you're going to have some sort of colorful object against a blue sky. So hopefully that makes the tracking easier, but that doesn't always apply. And so this is actually tracking based on the features, the shape, the contrast of that shape, not just on the color or intensity. And it's adaptive as well. So as I move my head around, it actually relearns what it's supposed to be tracking based on what it currently sees, so that it can continue to track it. So I'm really kind of excited about this, and hopefully I'll have in the next week or two a initial version ready for distribution that people can use with their telescopes. I'll also be supporting a much wider variety of telescopes using universal drivers called ASCOM. So a much greater variety of telescopes will be able to use it. So for all of those who claim that there's something hanging out in the sky that's just visible in broad daylight with your cell phone, if your cell phone can see it, a webcam strapped to your telescope should be able to see it, or some other camera strapped to your telescope should be able to see it. And all it should now take is point and click to track it. So we should be seeing really nice clear pictures of Nibiru approaching us if it's up there. I have my suspicions we're not going to see Nibiru, but hopefully we do see video of the International Space Station, rocket launches. That SpaceX launch the other day was brilliant. So I'm hoping people over on the West Coast in California watching Vandenberg launches can use this as well to track them and get footage.
It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good. So come a long way from your first startup.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it has come a long way. And I've been meaning to port it for some time. It's getting ported to Python, so a much easier language to code in than Visual Basic these days, and also much wider support for a greater number of add-ons and things. Makes it a lot easier to do things like calculate the position of a satellite using PyFM and some of these other tool sets. So it's going to make it really nice and easy to add features to as we go. And I'm going to upload the source code to GitHub. There was a interesting comment I received on the asteroid tracking program I released last week, where somebody claims that it's spyware, that I'm spying on people, or that it's a virus of some sort, and I'm trying to infect people's computers with my evil computer genius. So if that's the case, then show me where in the source code it is. To be fair, I did ban them as soon as I saw that comment, because that's just nonsense, and I'm getting tired of dealing with nonsense accusations on my channel. But some people have apparently been getting emails, probably from the same individual, claiming that my software is spyware and they need to distance themselves from me. So if you guys receive any emails, saying Astronomy Live's going down, he's a criminal infecting people's computers, ignore it. It's a bunch of nonsense.
Have you any idea who's doing this? Do you have any suspicions?
Well, I can take a few guesses.
Yes, we all can.
But at the moment, there is no proof for any of those suspicions I have. But certainly, it's that mindset, right? It's that mindset that drives people to do this kind of stuff, where they can't wrap their heads around being, some of them, they know they're wrong, and this is just their attempt to discredit me, discredit people they see as a threat to their income being YouTube ad money, their income being, selling t-shirts or survival supplies, whatever it is. I'm a threat to that, and anyone is who's capable of debunking them. So when they see something like this, they know it spells doom for, say it's the asteroid tracking thing. It spells doom for the claims that, oh, asteroid XYZ is going to hit Earth, NASA's lying about it. Well, anyone can download my program and track it themselves now. So if asteroid XYZ is going to hit Earth, amateurs should be able to prove that really quick, really easy. So why isn't that happening? And why is it that when I track the asteroid, it's on the orbit that NASA says it's supposed to be on? That's weird. So that's a threat to them. This is going to be a threat to a lot of other claims, ranging from Nibiru to Planet X debris hitting the atmosphere. That was one that was funny. Claudia Albers claimed that the previous Twilight SpaceX launch that lit up the skies here in Florida was actually Planet X debris hitting the Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's funny. I saw it come off the launch pad. I've got close-up footage of that through my telescope. So, you know, this is really damaging for people like that who claim the world is ending and the sky is falling. And so they have to discredit me. Others might be more genuine in their beliefs, more sincere. They might sincerely believe that it's, you know, that I'm really a shill. But I don't think those people are as inclined to make such outlandish accusations without proof, because I don't see how you can honestly convince yourself of that unless you have some sort of proof.
I think these people can convince themselves of anything as long as it suits their mental beliefs. Yeah,
that's probably true. I frequently find myself having trouble applying what they call Hanlon's razor to some of these people. For those who don't know, Hanlon's razor states it's related to Occam's razor, right? It states that basically you should always assume that any mistakes being made are not malicious, but rather they're due to incompetence. And wherever possible, assume it's due to incompetence before assuming that it's due to malicious intent. But with some of these, it's just, you have to assume such a deep level of incompetence that they just automatically are so paranoid they assume anyone who proves them wrong is out to get them in order to protect their belief system. And that might well be true. I can't get myself into that mindset. I can't understand it, you know?
It seems to certainly be true in a vast number of cases.
Yeah.
Probably more so than not.
Well, I suppose it raises a question, doesn't it? How long can they carry on this ridiculousness? I mean,
well, they've been carrying on for decades, haven't they?
Yeah.
Why stop now?
Surely the people are starting to wake up that this just isn't happening like they're saying it's going to. That's what I can't understand.
They just keep going through generation after generation. After a couple of years, people not necessarily die off, but they, you know, find out that they're telling lies and they move on. But there's always somebody else coming into YouTube, some new fresh meat that they can get to convince. So it's a recycling thing. And unfortunately, YouTube does nothing about it.
No, not a thing.
Despite their airy-fairy claims.
It bothers me that they have a tendency to use religion to get away with this. Religion is a good way to con people and to pull them into your vice. You empathise with their beliefs, and whether you believe their beliefs or not, you just pretend they do. And that seems to be what a lot of those channels are doing.
When there's actually nothing in the Bible about it.
No, but I think if you want to see a book that really explains that mentality pretty well, and to be fair, I haven't read it myself, but I've read a lot about it. It's called, there's a couple of good books. There's Carl Sagan, I think Carl Sagan wrote The Demon Haunted World, and then there's also When Prophecy Fails. Now that one, When Prophecy Fails, has a really interesting story to tell, because it tells the story of this cult where they had a belief that the world was going to end, and they had a set date for that. And it shows what happens from the inside of that cult when that date comes around and nothing happens, how they rationalize it to themselves. And it actually, in that case, made them even more extreme, or at least it strengthened their belief, even though their claim completely failed. They convinced themselves that the reason the world didn't end is because they believed strongly enough that it was. And basically, their belief saved the world. And so then they started evangelizing on the concept of, you need to believe us because we saved the world. And that's kind of, I think, what happens with a lot of these groups. You know, I've seen some conspiracy groups where they claim that the government's going to commit a false flag on a certain date, you know, like another, they claim another 9/11 is happening, and it's going to be the government doing it. And then it doesn't happen. And they say, well, the reason it didn't happen is because we knew about it. We were onto them before it happened. And so they called it off, you know.
Or God saved us.
They find a way to always move the goalpost to one thing or another.
Absolutely.
It's all about, for them, it's about money. I mean, how many people can they dupe into sending them money, whether it's PayPal or Patreon or any of those. If you're legitimate, that's fine. You know, it takes a lot of work to do what you do. However, if you're sitting there telling, that's another story.
And a legitimate person is not going to feel threatened by someone with demonstrable skill in the field that they're posting in. And what you see with these groups, even within their belief system of Nibiru, they'll often cannibalize each other because they perceive each other as a threat. This person's getting too many subscribers. There are too many people going to his sect of the cult. I need to go grab him. And so you'll see this a lot with flat earthers. You'll see this a lot with Nibiru types, where they will attack each other for not being honest. And they'll sort of drop the mask a little bit and say, look, this person was lying to you. Yeah, but you were doing the same thing a week ago, but they won't talk about that. They'll make the focus, the negative focus, on this other person who they perceive as getting too popular in the community, because they all want to be the top dog.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, someone like me, like, you won't see me do that to other astronomy channels. I'm not going to go and attack some other astronomy channel because they might have a better tracking algorithm than I have. If they have a better tracking algorithm than I have, I'll probably use it and promote it and say, hey, guys, you should go get this. It's really good, you know?
Yeah. That's the way normal people react to things.
You know, when you're comfortable in your own skin, you have no issues with anybody or anything else.
Correct.
Apparently, these folks are not comfortable with themselves.
No.
Yeah.
Or their lives.
Yeah, I can say that.
And they're sheep being led by psychotic shepherds.
And yet they call us sheep and indoctrinated.
Oh, I know.
And yet they're the worst of it.
Full armour of God, full armour of common sense would be a better choice.
Full underpants of God?
No, full underpants of God.
Wow.
Currently on Roger's channel, it seems to be getting really over the top in the comments, and you can almost sense that they're desperate to be offed.
I know. What is this desperation for being dead? Because that's what it boils down to. Safe in the arms of Jesus is being dead.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think there's different reasons people get into this community, this cult community, and one of them is probably going to be people who have had a rough life, or they've just had a rough go of it lately, and they, rather than turn to self-harm thoughts, they turn to, well, the world's going to end soon anyway. It's going to be the same level of awfulness for everybody. And they cling to that for comfort, because when you're in a tough situation, there's comfort in feeling like you at least know where it's going. Uncertainty is naturally uncomfortable to humans. We don't like uncertain futures, especially when we're already having a tough time. And so being confident in knowing the world's going to end next week because Nibiru is coming gives them a sense of comfort and the ability to, what they feel they can come to terms with something that's going to happen. It's not what's going to happen next week, not knowing how you're going to pay your credit card bill, not knowing how you're going to pay your rent this month, that is really psychologically difficult for some of these people to come to terms with. And so it's a lot easier to come to terms with, well, I'm not going to have to pay my rent next month because we're all going to be dead anyway.
Ultimately, it must damage them more when the event doesn't happen. Never happens.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely going to be disappointment with that and looking for explanations with that. But, you know, come next week, there's going to be, and they may even turn away from the person who was first telling them, you know, about that. You don't hear much about Terrell Blackstar, for instance, anymore. No. He was big in the Elenin days, you know, 2013, I think it was, or no, 2011 was Elenin. 2010, 2011, in that range. I think it was the end of 2010 when the comet was discovered, and then 2011 when it disintegrated. But in that time frame, he was huge in this community because he was saying Elenin, this comet, this really minor comet, actually, was actually a brown dwarf, high mass object that was coming into the solar system, and it was going to spell doom. And people latched onto that, and it's oftentimes the same people you see latching on to people like Rogers, Cohn, and others now. They latch on to somebody else, but it's the same basic philosophy, and they haven't learned that these myths are just myths. They always come back to it, usually a base myth level, And in this case, that's probably a lot of the Sitchin stuff, Velikovsky stuff, the belief that the ancient Babylonians knew about Nibiru, that a cataclysm happened thousands of years ago, and any day now it's going to happen again. So they'll latch onto a soothsayer, a prophet, who's telling them it's going to happen, sometime in the next year, sometime in the next month, sometime in the next week. And when that finally doesn't happen, they'll be disappointed for a little bit. Maybe things will die down. If you look on the Google Trends or whatever, the searches for that particular cataclysm will die down for a little while, and then it'll ramp back up. Somebody else will come on the scene, somebody like a Matt Rogers, somebody like a Scott Cohn, and they will become the new star child of this movement. They will become the prophet that they all look to.
Yeah.
And so I think that's how. Sorry, go ahead.
The likes of Mead and Masters seem to be quiet of late.
Yeah. I haven't heard much from Marshall Masters lately.
Yeah,
I think because they're failing so often.
Sorry?
I think because they're failing so often.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
surely has to be a stop point for individuals that are spewing this nonsense.
Yeah, they'll stop for a point until they can figure out what is their next scam.
Yeah.
What are they going to try and do to get the money in? But if they just sit back and realize what good they could do, because a lot of them, in a way, are smart people, but they choose the wrong path. And unfortunately, people. Go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just going to say some of them have lengthy criminal records. So, you look at Scott Cohn. He chooses the wrong path throughout his life, for years. And, my understanding is even today he's having his date with the court for misdeeds he's done. So I think with some of these people, they're recidivists. They'll never really change. They might change their scam, but they'll never change their methods. No. Because to them, it's easy to pump out fake content. It's a lot easier to pump out fake content than to pump out real content, to do real research, to make real effort to create real useful tools, or just make useful videos that actually teach people the truth. It takes time and effort to research that. It takes no effort to just make up claims on the spot that, something you see in a camera is Nibiru. It takes no effort to do that. And so for them, it's the quick and easy way to riches.
Yeah, but I wasn't including Cone on that one.
Okay, fair enough.
Can I raise something that may be a bit contentious? It seems to me as though a lot of this is American driven too. Is there any, am I right or am I wrong? Is there anything in it?
I don't know. I mean, Rogers is not American. Where's he from?
Yeah, he's English, but he keeps talking about American things like harps on full power and stuff like that. And there was a stage there he went through where he was talking about FEMA camps being set up all around the world, which they're not going to be. They're an American institution.
I think he's just playing to his subscriber base. I should imagine that the majority of his I can't say that word. The majority of his subscribers are Americans.
A lot of times.
Let's be serious. Everything he does is just playing to his audience. The whole God bless you Bible thumping nonsense is playing to his subs.
Yeah, and his list of buzzwords.
Yes.
And that's a problem.
I need to step away.
Yeah, and that's a problem for a lot of folks, because they'll sit there and they'll just listen to what someone's telling them instead of going out and trying to research for themselves. If somebody tells me something, I'm going to research it to make sure that they're telling me the truth. But for some folks, for whatever reason it may be, they swallow it hook, line, and sinker that there's a sun simulator up there, that the sun has died. And I think, Thought, you had did that a long time ago about how there could possibly be. There's no way. There's no way that anybody could build something like that. We can't. Hell, we can't build houses to last 20, 30 years.
Let alone something the size of the Earth that's sitting out at L1.
Yeah, so some of that mythology for the sun simulator comes from the same sort of wrong thinking you see go on a lot with these groups, where it's confirmation bias. They came across a piece of evidence that they didn't understand, and rather than continue to do more digging to really understand what it was, they ran with it, and they ran with their first assumptions about it. So there are patents out there for what they call sun simulators, but they aren't
Exactly.
placing the sun in the sky. They're for creating sun-like conditions in a laboratory setting, particularly in vacuum chambers for testing spacecraft. So sun simulators have been around since the Apollo era, at least, where they put a spacecraft in a vacuum chamber, evacuate the air, and then they need to simulate the thermal conditions that the spacecraft will experience once it's in space to make sure that it can withstand that, and make sure that it doesn't change its shape in a way that's undesirable if it's like a telescope, that kind of thing. So these are real devices, and they found real evidence that they exist, but then they run with it and interpret it their own way. And for whatever reason, they just refuse to listen to any explanation about it. That's all, NASA lies.
Yeah.
And they never mention, the truth about it. I mean, it was for that. It was for to see how the conditions would be if they put people up for the Apollo up there in the spacecraft. How will the electronics handle, space? How will the astronauts handle it? But these guys never mention that. They say, "Oh, well, there's a sun simulator up there," and they never tell you how it's powered.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to know.
It's hamsters, don't you know? It's hamsters. Millions of little hamsters in a wheel.
It's even if you try and use the simplest observations to say it can't be a sun simulator. Like the angular diameter would change as it traverses the sky, and the apparent speed, which is like if you were watching a car, the closer it gets to you, the faster it appears to move, and then as it passes you and goes away, it starts to slow. It appears to slow down, and a sun simulator would do exactly the same thing. But we can measure the sun's angular change through the day because that's down to the Earth's rotation. But they just they ignore it.
I don't
and
know
that's
if they
some of the
ignore
basic
it
stuff.
other than the fact that they don't understand it.
I mean,
Yeah, I
that
don't
would
deny
be
that.
phenomenal, wouldn't it? Sorry. Go on.
They deny the truth.
Yeah. That's it.
I mean, if you try and keep it it's for the simplest thing to look at. And well, I've got a video. It's got something like 700 views, which is the most I've ever had. And the majority of that is Roger's subs being total knobs. They're not addressing anything in the video. They just come in and going, "You're a troll," and that's it. You sort of go, "What about the points in the video? What point?" So there's no hope. Well, there is, but it's hard going.
I've always said if I could help someone, just one person, come out of this, then I'm successful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the way I feel as well.
And speaking of people who've come out of it, I see Chris Potter's joining us in the chat now.
Yep.
Yes. Welcome, Chris.
I forgot what I was going to say.
It was something profound.
Probably.
Interesting question there. They were asking Chris, who was more dangerous, Planet X News or Matt Rogers?
He says Planet X News.
That might be a two-headed side coin.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to call it.
They're sort of appealing to slightly different audiences, aren't they?
Yes.
It's ever so slight. They've sort of honed themselves for a sort of specific type of sub.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well,
Scott's got
honestly,
his.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Scott's got his authority figure. Just because she has a PhD, which fair dues, she has, but she's completely lost the plot.
Actually, yeah, they did that back when they started going about the stellar cores near the sun. They lost it right then and there because there's no way around that now. So now they're trying to figure a way out, and there's no way out. They done screwed the pooch.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just keep painting themselves in a tighter and tighter corner. Sun's no longer shining. You know, it started out as well. In 2007, something went over the sun that was weird, and that was from stereo behind it. It was the moon, but again, they refused to back themselves out of that one, even though it's been shown in every way possible it was the moon. It was the moon based on the lighting angle. It was the moon based on the surface features. If you look at the raw images, you can actually see the Maria of the moon. It's clearly the moon. But, you know, to them, it's always going to be stellar core, stellar core, because, like I said, it's an authority figure. She can't admit to being wrong, because if she's admitting to being wrong, it causes you to question all of the other things she's saying. So she has to continue to just stay on the same line and never admit defeat on anything. And that's how they get their clicks. I was actually curious to ask Chris if he feels like Claudia sincerely thinks she's saying at this point. You know, is it really because she's lost the plot? I mean, I think she has probably got some mental health issues there, but is she really sincere about all this stuff at this point? Or is it just going down that road of having to tell another lie to keep backing up the others, you know?
Yeah.
I can't answer that. I really don't know. Yeah, swither on that.
I wonder if it starts out as a lie and gradually they get so immersed in it that they begin to believe it.
Yeah, I do wonder about that. I mean, I don't know Cone other than the public interactions I've had with him, but my feeling from him is this guy lies effortlessly. He can string out a 20-minute story that he's completely made up on the spot and sound completely honest. I mean, that's a sociopath. I think he's a sociopath, and I don't think he believes any of this stuff. He knows that it's a bunch of hooey, but he's very good at lying. He's very good at sounding sincere, even when he's completely not.
He is charismatic.
Yes.
Don't tell him.
Oops. Hey, Al, while you're at it, can you talk about your annotated SDO program?
Oh, yes. Sure. So this is going to be the bane of Claudia's existence come the next SDO eclipse season, because I've developed a bot which automatically predicts all future SDO eclipses, whether due to the moon or due to SDO passing into the Earth's shadow, passing behind the Earth relative to the sun. So it will, first of all, look ahead a period of time and generate predictions based on SDO's orbit. It will say, okay, I see an eclipse coming up in the next few weeks, and it will generate a video illustrating what that eclipse will look like from SDO's AIA perspective, from the AIA detectors, what that will look like. Specifically, it's designed to be in sync with AIA 171, the 171 angstrom image. And then it will take the 171 angstrom images each day and annotate them. So it does it both ways. It looks out in the future, and it looks at what's already happened, and it will draw circles over the moon, the sun, and the Earth based on their expected positions, based on SDO's orbit. And it will upload that as an annotated video once a day. It actually, each day's time lapse goes back about 48 hours. That gives me some buffer room if the bot gets interrupted, if I lose the internet or whatever. It gives me 24 hours to get it back online before there start to be gaps in the footage. So once a day, it will upload each of those. And if it's already detected an eclipse, it won't upload it again unless that eclipse changes in time. So right now, I've got it set to look forward 2 months. It looks forward 2 months, and it generates prediction videos for any eclipse in that 2-month period. If the orbit of SDO changes enough that the timing of that eclipse changes by more than 30 seconds on the start time, it will consider that a new eclipse, and it will generate a new prediction video. So every day it looks forward in that 2-month period to see if there's any changes or if there's any new eclipses that are coming up. Now, I'm going to probably increase that prediction outlook a little further because I already know there's an eclipse that's going to be big in the Nibiru community which it hasn't generated a prediction for yet because it's going to happen in, I think, March 2019. So it's not looking that far out yet. I've already seen it, though. I know it's probably going to happen, but the orbit of SDO can change over time due to solar radiation pressure, perturbations from the planets, just all these minor factors that become important over that length of time. So I don't want to generate a prediction video this far in advance because it could shift a little bit in terms of the appearance. But come next month, I might go ahead and set it to predict instead of 2 months out. I will set it to predict out far enough that it actually generates the video for the March eclipse. Because what's going to happen if the current predictions hold true? The moon is going to pass over the sun, just like it did in September, where it passed over the sun and then it reversed direction. It came back the other way 6 hours later. Only this time, it will actually appear to stop in mid-eclipse, and it will be covering up the sun pretty good. I mean, a pretty good percentage of the sun's going to be covered. It's going to stop and then back off, go back the other way in the middle of the eclipse. That's going to be a sight to see. And when that happens, I guarantee you, the Nibiru people are going to be crowing about it. WSO, Steve Olson, he's going to be all over it. I can almost guarantee it now. Planet X News will probably be on it. Claudia will probably be on it. Yeah. Because they're all going to say, the moon doesn't stop. The moon doesn't stop. You've never seen an eclipse from Earth where the moon stops. The moon doesn't stop and go back the other way. This is a moon of Nibiru or something else. And so now I've got this bot running. They're going to have to contend with the fact that I'll have a video illustrating exactly what happened before it happened, months before it happened. And then when it does happen, I'll have a video annotating it, showing here's the moon. It's exactly the right size. It's exactly the size it should have been. And it traveled in exactly the path it should have taken based on SDO's orbit. It's all because SDO is orbiting the Earth. It's not a stationary observer. And though it is geosynchronous, meaning it goes around the Earth once a day, it is still traveling relative to the Earth's center point. And so it's also traveling relative to the moon in a way that we are not standing on the Earth's surface. We're not traveling as fast as SDO is. And so there's some weird things that happen with the geometry of that because that's happening. And it can cause what we call retrograde motion. It's the same reason, physically it's the same reason we see retrograde motion in the planets. If you look at a planet over time in the sky, it can appear to do the same thing where the planet seems to stop relative to the background stars in reverse direction. And ancient astronomers had a lot of trouble explaining this. When they assumed all the planets and all the stars were going around the Earth. It didn't really make much sense in a geocentric model. And when we started to, when Copernicus started to put the Earth in its proper place, there started to be easier explanations for it. But it wasn't until elliptical orbits were considered that they were fully explained. Anyway, bottom line is it is normal, and it will be predicted on my bot. So if you check out my channel, I've got a link to my SDO bot. It's simply annotated SDO is the name of the channel. And once a day, it does uploads annotating each day's images. So if there were an unusual eclipse that happened, it would show up there. It should be in the daily archive. And if it's really unusual, it shouldn't be annotated properly because the program, it's not like you can look at the source code. I've published the source code for this program. It's not looking at the images and analyzing them. No, it's just overlaying circles of where it expects things to be. That's all it's doing. And yet it works.
Yeah.
Wow.
Makes you very unpopular in certain areas.
Oh, yeah. I'm a threat to their income. Anyway, yeah. Unfortunately, I have to take off here. But thanks for having me on tonight. I'll tune in to listen in, but I've got to take off and take care of some things here.
Good to see you.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Yeah. So catch you again.
Yep.
Well, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's going to be good fun. Let's go wave the files at Claudia.
Not like she'll pay any attention.
Nah, she'll just say, "You're not paying attention. The Earth is doing funny things."
That's a terrible impression.
All your videos are debunking videos, so I must be right.
Yeah.
Logical. Not.
However, I had to use a sock. I challenged it with the crepuscular rays and the anti-crepuscular rays.
Yep.
And I said about the anti-crepuscular rays being a continuation, and she just said, "No, they're not. The sun doesn't create those. Crepuscular rays are completely different." And I think, oh. But it's. I mean, there's someone let me use their pictures. They took a left and a right shot, and then they also used a horizontal fisheye, so that it took the whole sky from left to right, and you could track the rays all the way across. And now, of course, we've got Rogers. He keeps putting pictures up with the shadows from crepuscular rays in clouds, going, it must be from another body, and he's showing anti-crepuscular rays. So,
and it's always the northeast sky.
Oh yeah, the northeast sky. In the north,
the sky is getting dark at 10 a.m.
Yeah, it's too dark. Come on now.
Now you have over here. Now the sun is coming up too far in the south.
Yeah, we keep getting that every
year. Well, at least this year, I don't think we had the Venus thing or that bright object in the western sky.
No, I think we missed that one this year.
But there's, we're moving into the next season. Of course, the sun is going to be coming up south. It changes, except twice a year?
Yeah, 2 days a year is the only time it comes up exactly on point.
Right. But they still keep up with that nonsense.
It's like the ones who say, but the moon's out during the day. Oh, no. Get a grip.
Yeah. Says the person with the name Skywatcher in their title.
No, his last video where he used a reporter that was talking about what you need to do to be a reporter, the movements, the hand gestures, the facials. That was totally wrong for him to do that.
It was extremely cringeworthy.
No,
oh man.
Yeah, no, it's just wrong. I mean, well, you don't do that sort of thing.
Yeah. Fine, wait until
At least he could have tried a new voice with it or something.
Well, yeah.
His own voice.
It wasn't even funny.
He wasn't even lip synced properly.
No, that's true.
And that's more the reason why they just don't care. They'll just throw anything out there. All they want is the views and they want the money. They don't care. And the sad thing again is that the people sit there and listen to it and take it and and go along with it. It's ridiculous. I mean, some of them you can probably, some of them you can't. But hey, everybody has their own choice that they have to make in their lives. So whatever their choices are, then they will endure whatever the consequences are.
Yep.
But I think the problem is Rogers isn't making any money out of it, is he?
It's not monetized.
Well, I know of a few channels that need to be unmonetized or demonetized.
Seems to be purely his ego being stroked.
Yeah.
Especially by Barb. It's. This week I watched a program called Drowning in Plastic on BBC iPlayer, and I'm sat there thinking we've got some real. I mean, it's not the only problem we've got, but we've got some real major man-made problems going on that are something that if everyone pulled together, we might be able to turn it around. And you get these idiots that are putting all the energy into chasing something that doesn't exist, and it's not going to do anything. It's just screwing their lives up, and yet they could take themselves in hand, do something positive, be activists, harass their MPs, representatives, companies.
It's too much like hard work. They prefer just sitting at the computer watching mind-numbingly bad YouTube videos.
Yeah, I think that's half the problem. I mean, I've only just started getting. I mean, years ago I used to write for Amnesty International, and then I got married.
That was your amnesty going.
Yeah, I needed help. I'm just starting. I mean, I've harassed my MP and the local council because our council here, they're postponing the plastic recycling collections because it's expensive. I'm not too happy about that.
Aren't these things funded by central government? No.
I haven't got a clue. I really need to start digging into it a bit harder.
I don't know. Obviously, it's different in Scotland, but I don't know the answer for here either. I just know that my plastics get collected.
Scotland seems to have itself well together.
We try.
But, yeah, so there's things that they could do to make a difference in the world. It might only be small, but surely that bit of personal comfort it would give them to know that they'd done something, they tried their best. It's better than just sort of sitting there going, oh, I want to die.
And if it is the case that animals and wildlife are dying in the area they live in, then they need to look at the proper reasons for that and not say, oh, it's the chemtrails, because it's not.
Yep. I've been all over the Marlborough Downs this year, and it's as green and lush and alive as it always has been.
It's the same here. The lovely summer has brought out everything. I've seen amazing amounts of wildlife this year. As for growth in the garden, the minute the sun stopped pounding and we got half an hour of rain, it all came back again. Not dying, it was just in retirement.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I mean, it's like he showed that one deer with the growth on its face.
Which is caused by impacted food. Yeah.
And they're prone to things like warts and other things that they catch in the wild.
Viruses,
parasites.
Yeah.
It happens. But,
or it was one of the deers that walked back into Chernobyl.
Yeah.
They don't look for a logical explanation. They just simply prepare the fantasy ones.
Yeah.
They'll be blaming it on unicorns next. Wait for it.
Poor unicorns.
I know. I love a unicorn.
Yeah. What else have they been saying?
Same old.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, Matt Rogers. Apparently, there's only one cloud type.
Oh, yes.
All the others are made up. And yet, I'll just check the dates. I think it's 1802.
It is 216 years.
Yep. By Lamarck, and again in 1803. Howard, and they published a full classification, and they kept it basic to start with. Like there's three areas in the altitudes where you get specific types of cloud, but they also interbingle. You can also get similar types of cloud on the same levels.
Dazza the cameraman in the house.
Hey!
Hi guys, how you going?
Sorry. Across the ditch.
Sorry I'm late to the party, been out and about, but can join for about 15 minutes or so.
Cool.
You dirty little stop out.
Here's what weather across the ditch.
Yeah, it's not so bad at the moment, but there's some rain and so on its way, probably arriving later today. It's meant to be a nasty few days after that. Did I saw Astronomy Live was on before? Did he mention anything about? I know there's that hurricane which is heading his way. So
yeah, he did. Yeah. He's not getting it too bad right now. We could hear thunder.
Yeah, could hear the thunder.
Oh right. Okay.
So what you been up to, Daz?
Had a busy few days. I've been away and got back just recently. So. Had a nice few days away. It was good. The skies weren't very clear in the evening, so I was hoping to do a bit more imaging of the sky, but didn't really get a chance to do that. So that was a shame. Got the new P1000. A friend has bought one and he's loaned it to me to get familiar with, so I can show him how to use it. So that's pretty cool.
How does it fare to the P900?
Oh, it's awesome. It's as well as being a bigger lens, so it's a 3-inch lens compared to about a 2-inch, I think. And it's got more zoom on it, but also it's got a whole lot more control of the camera. It's a lot easier with the manual focus and manual settings. So yeah, it's like the P900 was sort of really the you know, Mark I version, and they've added onto that. So it's a great camera. Yeah.
Cool. Trying to persuade my husband to buy one.
Yeah, well, basically, it's a 3-inch refractor telescope with a built-in 4K 16 megapixel camera with raw imaging and all of that. So, yeah, it's a very nice camera.
At a nice price, I should imagine.
Yeah, well, the introductory price, New Zealand dollars, is $17.99, so $1,800. I did check with one of the local retailers, asked him what the best price would be, and he said $16.49. Always pays to ask, but I'm sure that the prices will come down over the next 6-12 months, as they always do.
Not as bad as I would have thought, actually.
No, no, that's not a bad price for a decent camera at all.
Yeah,
I should say. Camera for now.
I should say, although it's a very nice camera to use, it won't compete with a DSLR camera for deep sky imaging, like, you know, if you're imaging the Milky Way or taking exposures of nebula and so on. It's not in the same category, but for a bridge camera, it's an awesome camera.
Yeah. Will it be able to find Planet X, Nibiru?
I've seen some great photos and videos of Saturn and Jupiter, and I've filmed them before myself with my P900, but with the extra lens. But no doubt, you know, just like the flat earthers say that the P900 is the ultimate camera for proving that the Earth is flat, which is why I went out and bought one to prove that it isn't. You know, the Nibiru nuts and so on will point it at the sun and generate more lens flares and claim that it's Planet X, as they always do. So nothing changes in that regard.
Yeah,
true.
Mind you, all the flat earthers who take images with it show curvature.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I saw when Astronomy Live was on, I just caught the end before he disappeared, and I saw that he was using his tracking software to track his eyeball. That looked quite impressive. Yeah.
Really
it
cool.
seemed to work very well.
Yeah, it's come a long way since the teletrack version.
Yeah. So have we covered Claudia Elbows at all?
We've touched on her.
Yeah. We saw her recent videos claiming that the sun is no longer shinning. Apparently, the physicists can't even spell shining. It's shinning all the way through.
That must hurt.
Yeah. So the sun is no longer shinning, and yet they're still pumping out videos claiming to show Planet X next to the sun, which is no longer shinning.
Yeah,
they can't seem to get their story straight.
Using Soho and Seshi images.
Yeah. So what are we supposed to be seeing on Soho and stereo and so on if the sun is no longer shinning?
Yeah. It'll be a NASA employee with a crayon. I mean, even Rogers is. Oh, you know, he keeps going on about the white sun, the yellow sun, the golden sun.
Yeah.
He showed a picture from Soho and said, "Look, it's yellow." Yeah, they force color it, you knob.
Yeah, yeah. I've been meaning to do a video on that, and I've got a prism out of one of the diagonals for an old telescope I've got here.
Yeah.
Took the glass prism out of that, and of course you can put it on the window, and you'll cast quite a nice spectrum on the wall. So I filmed that the other day. Now, of course, if the sun was not white, if it was yellow or orange, we wouldn't be able to split up that light into the color of the spectrum as we do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's referred to as a yellow sun scientifically, isn't it? Because it sits in the wave light sort of centered around the yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all it is. So, but it still throws all the colours out.
But it's because people draw it yellow, don't you know?
Yeah, and if you were in Japan, they culturally draw the sun as red. As
that's right.
On the flag. Yeah.
That with the prism, does it show up, or do you need extra magnification thrown in to show the absorption lines?
I can't see any absorption lines. You just see the spectrum of color. So yeah.
How do they do that then? Because it's something I was thinking about trying to do.
Yeah, it's not something I've ever looked at, so I can't say.
I'll have to Google.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of amateurs do it. Do spectroscopy of the sun. So I mean that alone, I mean there's got to be several thousand who do it worldwide. And if it wasn't the sun, then they'd have the wrong spectrum coming out of it.
Yeah, and as I've always pointed out to people, you know what happens when
hydrogen microscopes.
You're breaking up.
Who's breaking up, me or?
No, thought.
Might need a refresh. Yeah, I was saying, as I often say to people, that what happens when you shine a white light on a white surface? You get a white light, right?
Yeah.
If you shine an orange lamp on a white surface, what color do you get? You get orange. Now, I don't ever remember when I was growing up, and I'm 50 plus years now, ever seeing all the white surfaces bathed in orange or yellow. It's, you know, white surfaces always look white to me. And,
very much so.
Yeah.
If anything, it makes them look whiter.
Yeah.
Because you get the flip side of that with Rogers. If someone's taken a picture of the sun, everything in the foreground is dark, so he panics about it. They just don't get it.
No, he's got no understanding whatsoever of what happens when you take a photograph pointing it at a light source.
I'm still waiting for his film camera.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's still not happened.
Oh, what about? I think we mentioned earlier about Scone's. What was it? His TV series or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about that.
Still waiting. Then there was a book tour.
Oh, the book tour, and she was going to get employed by another university or something, wasn't it?
Oh yes.
YouTube University.
Yeah.
Got one of those ones that sells their I've lost it. Yeah, sells them online.
Yeah, buy a doctorate for $1,000.
Yeah, buy a doctorate. Yeah. That's it. If one had the money, it'd be funny to do, just so you could put it up there on YouTube. PhD.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sean White says on the lecture, she was supposed to have a lecture tour, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Scott was really going on about that at that time, wasn't he? And it just never happened.
Funny that.
Unless he was the only one present.
So has anybody in the chat got any pressing questions for anybody in here? Or have we just bored you all, Bridget?
Interesting one from Amethyst Crystal there about the moon and planet simulators.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Is that different to holograms?
I don't know.
Projectors. That was another one, wasn't it? Projectors.
Project Blue Sky. Something.
It's quite clever how they've got these sun simulators set up, because, you know, any of us who have ever been on a long road trip across country notice that the sun doesn't sort of magically swap out in the sky. You know, you can sort of follow it the whole length of your journey, and it's still there in the sky.
Yeah.
It wasn't Albers claiming at some stage that there was a ring of them around the Earth, and that's how it worked.
Ring of them around the Earth, and they were actually in the atmosphere.
Yep.
And they also had cloaking devices to hide them using gravitons, was it? Graviton lift?
Is that a bit like a mister on?
Yeah. Might as well be.
Well, that's the thing with science fiction, You just make it up as you go along.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
If she made her channel into science fiction, I'll probably listen to it and watch. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, truly fantastic.
Yeah.
To believe that stuff.
That might be her new career.
It could be.
She can't go back to her old one, can't she?
Yeah, as long as she put forward that it is all about entertainment. Back in my day when I was growing up, I used to listen to all the old radio shows. And I still do to this day. I go back to some of the old-time radios about science fiction, Space Patrol, a few other programs that came out. It's interesting to listen to. It's entertaining. She could do something like that because I don't think she'll ever be able to teach again in any school or institution.
No, it's quite sad when you think about it. You imagine her applying for a job and then vetting her and Googling and seeing what they come up with. She really has ruined her own career.
Totally. She's got no future anyway.
Well, seeing who she's with, yeah.
Maybe at McDonald's.
Yeah.
No, they don't even employ people that believe in that sort of stuff.
There was one other thing I think we have talked about before and was mentioned. Wasn't there supposed to be some sort of TV program or something that those two over there at the Planet X side were supposed to be getting with Russian TV or something like that?
Oh, yes. I remember that being mentioned.
Yeah.
As usual, lies. Nothing.
Oh, you only have to look at the stories that come out of the Russian news sites, the rubbish that they pile out day after day. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's just mental.
No, it's amazing what you can do when you can put fake information into different places to form ideas or to get people to think one way or the other. It's truly amazing. So, like what happened in our election here in the U.S., a lot of fake information was put out there, and that kind of formed people's opinions on certain things. And it's going to continue until they figure out a way to stop all this crap. I don't believe everything everybody says. I try and search it for myself and then make up my own mind about it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. But at least I use my own mind on this one. I'm not going to sit there and listen to somebody and accept everything for as it is.
Nicholas Thomas is just...
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, sir. Nicholas Thomas, he's just asked a very good question. What is Project Bluebeam, and what about Agenda 21 that Rogers harps on about?
Pardon the pun.
But Project Bluebeam I'm not up on.
Oh, that probably was something about UFOs or something.
That goes way back, Project Bluebeam. Yeah.
And Agenda 21 is just a recommendation. It's not beholding to anything. It's just sort of don't wipe yourselves out by cutting down all the forests and all that sort of stuff. But because they've read everything they can under the sun into it, and it's a big conspiracy now.
Yeah, because everything's a conspiracy.
Oh, there we go. Rational Wiki says Project Bluebeam is a conspiracy theory that claims that NASA is attempting to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist at its head and start a new world order via technologically simulated second coming. Oh, good grief. It's worse than I thought.
Well, guys, I'm going to have to disappear for a while. I'll probably listen in, but do this again sometime.
Yep. Yeah, nice to see you, Dana.
Bye.
All right, Dave.
See ya.
I think we'll wind this up shortly anyway. That's been over an hour, so.
Yay.
Unless anybody else has got any wonderful information too.
It was an hour getting it going.
Haha, I'll move it next time.
About time, yeah, that I'm putting my son out to his course, and then I've got a
yeah. So where were we? Well, with the clouds.
The clouds.
Before Dazza popped up.
I've got a short memory. What were we talking about? Oh yes, cloud classification.
Because some dumb thinks there's only one type. So there's 10 primary types, and they occupy 3 different levels. And then there's like little subtypes as they sort of change and the conditions change, and they can actually appear at the same time, depending on what the conditions were in the various areas they were before they drifted together. And all the information's there. It makes perfect sense.
But he doesn't accept that information because it's on things like the Met Office, who are all just government shills, according to him. Everything is a conspiracy.
Well, Miss RD, you went through a whole series of that. That was entertaining. And I'm like, man, I didn't know all the various different ones. I'm like, well, okay, learning experience. Mm-hmm. That was good.
Yeah, it was. It's what was it? No, it's gone. Mine like a sieve.
You and me both.
It'll come back to me later.
When we're offline. You can come back and do your own live stream.
From a personal point, where I live at the minute, I am under 3 flight paths. They come east to west-ish, and it's from Heathrow primarily, going to and from, out to Ireland, and obviously across to America from France. Contrails form depending on the weather. We've had a clear sky all day today, and over, and the contrails have been short lasting. When they're lasting, and the sun planes are heading to, it traverses in the south, and the flight path, if they're trying to cover the sun, the flight path doesn't change. The planes just keep going on the same track. If they're trying to hide the sun, why aren't these planes moving with it? Answers on a postcard?
You tell us.
I don't know. I'm just pulling this out my arse. If it's good enough for Rogers, it's good enough for me.
You forgot it's like God bless when you finished.
That short man over there at Planet X News, he had a video out today talking about, they're just chemtrail in the skies. Okay, apparently he's in the Pittsburgh area somewhere. Well, there's an international freaking airport there. Of course there's going to be freaking contrails all over the place because they're taking off and landing and back and forth. And see, that's one of the things that they do. They obfuscate the truth to their own means. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm still working on that video, and I'm gonna get that video up maybe sometime tomorrow about the contradictions of what they're saying and doing. So we'll see.
Because I think I said to Mr. RD the other day, the subs, they're always complaining about the skies being clouded out and they're hiding stuff. But when there's no clouds, they don't take a bloody shot of anything. And if you would have thought they'd have been all over it because it's not being hidden, they should be able to see it. There we go.
Yeah, caught Rogers out with that before, though. He's sort of waffled on about stuff there next to the sun, and then he pops up a photo that's got no clouds in it. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. I wouldn't mind it so much if these guys would take the criticism. It's when they delete comments that really please me.
Yeah.
I mean, when I get criticized for something, it may hurt in a moment, but I'm not going to come back at you like a wild man or something like that.
No.
I'll take it into consideration, and if I'm wrong, I'll accept the fact that I'm wrong and own up to it. But you can, with these folks, I mean, you can show them that they're wrong, and they just keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I once had one. I did a video on the Kachinas, and there was a lady of American indigenous heritage pointed out a couple of things to me, and rather than just get into an argument, we ended up with a great long chat about what she believed and how it related to the Bible and all that. And she agreed in the end that I was just asking the question about the Kachinas. I wasn't actually stating that they don't exist.
Right.
So it was constructive, no yelling and screaming.
Yeah. If they come at you the right way, then there's someone you can talk to, even if you disagree. But you can actually have a conversation. But a lot of what I got the other week, they're just coming out and they're giving you a gobful. They're not interested. It's just they're feeling highly affronted. You're the devil. Take that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the worst ones are the ones where you go and look and they haven't made a video at all. They just get on and suddenly start calling you a troll.
Yeah. And yet it's the other way around. Our intergalactic. Sorry, go on.
No, I've had good conversations on some of the other channels over there, and some of them, they will sit and listen. They still may have their mind made up, but when I can leave a conversation after maybe 7 or 8 back and forths, and they're not spouting any anger, and we can agree to disagree, then hey, there's a little progress. Maybe at some point in time we can go, but a lot of them, I mean, as soon as you say something like troll, and it's like, wow, really?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'll keep pushing forward. And like I said, if I can only save just one, well, that'll be a lucky one.
Yeah.
And the problem is their comments are like their children's comments, like the playground stuff.
Oh,
they can't even, they can't even be adult about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of them may actually be teenagers.
But, you got guys like who over at Planet X. The stuff he comes out with that's 10-year-old stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it fits him.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Intergalactic Wiccan, she's saying about what do we think about the claims that chemtrails cause cancer and Alzheimer's and Kimlung. Well, we all know it's bollocks.
Yeah.
But I mean, the worst thing about that is if someone believes that, if they don't go and get checked out for something that's ailing them, and it could be something that's easily treated, but fatal if you don't. I've seen that, not related to that sort of stuff, but I've seen what happens. I've seen firsthand what happens if you ignore your body telling you there's something wrong. And I lost my mum because of it. She was too embarrassed and ignored it until far too late. And it would have been treatable. But these people, they're running the same risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, it's like the anti-vaxxers.
Yeah. So they're likely to be lethal to everyone in the end.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're relying on the herd effect, but they're using that as justification for not doing it. They're just not connecting up they're connecting up some dots, but not the right ones.
Yeah.
I wish we could find somewhere to put them all. The anti-vaxxers, the flat earth dudes, and Nibiru nuts.
Maybe that's what Elon Musk's working on. Maybe he's going to pump people up to Mars.
Hey, he sent up that car. Maybe he can get a bus and put them all on there.
Short bus.
You reckon they'd survive?
Who cares?
The flat earthers would be going all the way with the fingers in their ears and their eyes closed.
You can't go to Antarctica.
Oh no, not unless you go via New Zealand. That's the doorway, apparently.
Haven't heard that one.
Oh yeah, oh, I think that was last year's version. All the elites were off to New Zealand to get ready to go over to Antarctica to hide in their bunker.
No,
There's
all
all
I've
these-
heard is you're not allowed to go there. You'll be stopped by the military.
Bollocks.
Yeah. Robot penguins with laser eyes. That's the flat earthers' favourite.
Hey, there's a couple of questions from Anthony Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody want to take that one on?
Well, if you go by, is it the Fermi's paradox that the distances are too great for us to have, if there are other civilizations at the same level, they're too far away, similar development time, we just can't cross the distances. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that one's called, but yeah, that'd be the one.
I don't know what you're on about, so I'll just be quiet.
I'm trying to figure this one out.
That's
He says, I'm going to read it just as he spelled it. Is that a person said that he had extraterrestrial contact 2 times, that they say they come from Nibiru, and that they will come very soon.
Well, that sort of rules it out straight away, really, doesn't it?
If you've got a 3,600-year orbit, how do they live when they're that far out from the sun?
Yeah. And our solar system would be wrecked. We wouldn't even be here.
Exactly.
Gravity's a thing. So,
How does somebody know they're having extraterrestrial contact? How do they know it's not A, a dream, B, a delusion? You know, how would anybody actually know, yes, that's from a little green man? They wouldn't.
I think you've got the people who have got the implants. They've probably got something going for them that they can't.
We can ask Scott about that.
Okay.
What, with his dried up snot?
Yeah. Jeez.
You know, granted, I think we may all have seen something in the skies that we can't explain.
Yeah.
Was it an aircraft? Whatever it was. But we can't say that it's alien because we don't know what it is. I mean, I've seen stuff myself that I still can't explain to this day.
No.
And I tell my wife, and she looks at me like, you're a goddamn idiot. But I still, I still can't understand what it was that I saw. Still don't know to this day.
Yeah, it's a UFO.
You know, is it possible? Who knows? Until I have permanent proof, I don't know. I don't know. It could have been something, but I just don't know what it was. Unless I show up on a live feed with an alien by my side.
Now that would be cool.
But I saw something as a young teen. I was never sure what it was, but I think what I probably saw was a fast-moving group of jets. But at the angle they looked like they were all one. So there were fins sticking up everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it had me wondering for a while.
I think you can account for probably 90% of what people say. It's just that 10% that is that unidentified.
Yeah, that's true. It could be man-made or it could be whatever. We just don't know what it is.
I think it would be very wrong to assume that we're alone.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, so for sure.
True. I mean, in our galaxy, what is it? 200 billion stars at least, or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's billions and billions of galaxies. Now, why would we be the only ones here?
Doesn't make logical sense.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But until we can prove it once, I guess.
Yeah, and now it looks like planets are a dime a dozen out there.
Yeah. And we're getting better and better at being able to detect, actually have a proper look at the atmospheres, because that will be one of the indicators for whether there's some sort of life cycle going on.
But that's only life as we know it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. We always assume that something needs to be like Earth to support life.
Yeah, but
that really doesn't follow, does it?
Yeah, but we even know on Earth that it's the extremophiles, isn't it? They live in totally inhospitable places, but they thrive. So that's
life finds a way, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Titan and Europa might be possibilities.
Hey, where's Doctor Who when you need her?
She's in Sheffield. Hey,
no, actually, I watched the first show of that. Man, that's really good. I mean, I and my daughter, she's in college now, but we used to sit back and watch all the Doctor Who's. Now that's fascinating. That's as long as that thing has been going on, because I was a teenager when Doctor Who started. Oh,
I was a toddler.
Younger?
Yeah, I was a toddler too.
Oh, hell no, you weren't.
We were, yeah.
We were.
We're so old.
But no, I mean, for that show to keep going on from when it started and it's still now, and it's still good. It's still good. I love it.
Yeah, it's never lost its appeal for me at all. It's part of my childhood, now part of my adulthood. But what saddens me is that none of my 3 children like it. I don't know why. And one of them is named after a Doctor Who character.
Wow.
There was a couple of doctors. There was a couple of doctors that I didn't like.
Sylvester McCoy, hated him.
Yeah. He's one.
He's really good in the audios. His
Don't care.
He's brilliant. The character development's been a bit more filled out. The scripts did go a little bit wonky about that point.
Yeah. Yeah, script writers have a lot to do with it. It's not just the person bringing the character.
And the one that replaced
Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, you go first.
Colin Baker wasn't all that good either.
No.
In my opinion.
And really good in the audios. His character's been filled out.
No, I kind of like.
You're sounding like a niptard. You're making excuses for bad Doctor Who's.
No, Matt Smith was one of my favorites, and I like David Tennant.
John Pertwee.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Tom Baker was the one.
Yes.
He was Doctor Who.
No, he was mine. You get your own.
No, boys.
I just got the feeling it really wasn't Doctor Who after Tom Baker left.
Yeah. Jodie Whittaker, a really good, credible first shot. So, provided they keep giving her the good scripts and let us settle and find a way, it'd be sorted.
She had me convinced from the first couple of minutes. Wasn't going to be a problem.
Yeah, but they've got to keep the scripts up.
That's the only thing that worries me.
And a good bunch of partners there too. So
yeah,
some good acting talent in amongst them.
Intergalactic Wiccan is a Star Wars fangirl. So have we got anything to say about Star Wars?
I hate Star Wars. Sorry.
Yeah. Never did a lot. Never did a lot for me.
No.
To be honest.
I like the original. I saw the original trilogy. I thought that was really good. Prequels, I thought they messed with the universe a bit too much. And I've only seen Rogue One, which was very good for the new versions. But I like Star Wars. It's I'm a Doctor Who person.
Yeah,
and Star Trek.
Man.
Oh yeah.
Didn't go for long enough though. Although the reboot was pretty good actually.
Yeah, I heard about that. It's wasn't there quite a bit of a twist at the end?
Yeah, it was a big twist actually. I won't say it in case someone wants to watch it and they haven't seen it. But yeah, it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah,
but it was more gritty. They sort of had analog clocks and stuff like that, and it was sort of more, I don't know, spacey-fied.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously with modern filming techniques, they can really push the boundaries of the sci-fi and keep it sort of, within a realistic scientific frame.
Yeah, what I liked about the new Battlestar Galactica, they did explain why the Cylons look different, which was good. So they left in bits from the old one.
Yeah. Because wasn't there one of the original characters in there, or a couple of them, or were there not? Am I thinking something else?
Yeah. The guy that played Apollo. He didn't play Apollo, though. He played a different role. But, yeah, he was actually in there. So
that's confusing.
Yeah, no, but they changed a lot of the characters around. They went for female characters instead of males in the roles, as they do these days, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Right, I think I'll wind this up now.
No worries. It's been a pleasure.
It's been nice having a chat.
Yeah.
We should do it again.
Yeah, we'll have to, and we'll be a bit more refined with the setup and
well, you can bloody host it next time, then.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm quite prepared to wear cotton, but have no idea how it works.
Okie doke. Night night, everyone.
I'll go onto the laptop.
All right. Y'all have a good evening.
Paper bag.
Well, good morning.
Good bedtime.
All right.
Good night to you in the UK and whatever time it is in the US.
Yep. Have a good day, whoever's up in the day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.